You can utilize note layers to leave little reminders for yourself and also bust out some pretty fancy tricks while designing your game in Component.Studio 3. In the design editor, click here to add layer. Then click on Add Note Layer. With this new note layer, you can simply choose to utilize this to leave yourself a note or reminder for later, perhaps something relevant to the entire game or specific to this layer. This can be handy if you tend to forget things like I do. But where the real magic happens is if you click these three dots, scroll down and hit Code. Then scroll down to Set, which is a code that sets a key and a value. Select it and notice that it defaults to this foo barcode where foo is the key and bar is the value. This now becomes a code that I can call upon anytime. So if I add a text layer and click the three dots beside the text field and scroll down to code and this time select get, it will place this get code that inserts the default key foo, which will now call foo's value from the set code and display this as bar. I could change the notes code key and value to whatever I want, and any text box that uses this key will display that value. Now, that example is a bit silly, but you could do this to be able to change many text boxes all at once across a design if you weren't totally certain of a value or word at the beginning. But the real magic happens when you start pushing this code into other places. The possibilities are endless, but here are a couple examples. Suppose I'm designing a game where I know that the images on these cards will be somewhere near the left edge of the card, but I'm not entirely sure where at the moment. If I set a note that uses images X as the key and a number as the value, and then place the code getImageX in the X position field of these images, I can simply later change the value in the note code and it will impact all of those images. Or to take things a step further, suppose I have a series of images that I know I want to form a diagonal line, but I'm not entirely sure where or how big they should be. I could just place them like this and then have to adjust them all the time, or I could make these three note codes here inputting 75 and 75 for my positions and 150 for my size for now. Then I go to the image position and input this code into my X field and this similar one into the Y field, and then use a get code for image size. And then finally, now when I duplicate this image, it will begin placing these images in a perfect diagonal line. Furthermore, if I want to adjust them, I can simply cruise back to the note and change the size or position like this, and it will automatically adjust them all. These are just a couple examples of what kind of magic is possible with notes layers. One thing that's important to know is that a code in a note impacts every layer that's above it. So if you want a note to interact with a layer, just make sure the layer is higher up than it in this panel. There are very few limits to what you can accomplish using notes in Component.Studio 3. Got questions? Join us on Facebook, Discord, Reddit, or comment below. We're here to help. This is Ryan Garrett with Component.Studio 3. All the best as you design your amazing game.